Good afternoon and welcome to the Raucous Bum Computer Consulting monthly webinar series. My name is Kelly Bergman and it is my pleasure to introduce you to the Sage Enterprise Intelligence Group. Gareth Marks, Director of Business Development with Nectari. He is an accomplished business leader with a passion for driving growth and innovation. He has over a decade of experience in the software industry and he knows his stuff for sure. And Jasdeep Bogle, I hope I said that correctly, pre-sales engineer with Nectari Software. Jasdeep collaborates closely with the sales team to showcase the solution to prospective users. He is instrumental in conducting proof of concepts and providing essential resources to support your success. As always, if you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to type them into the Q&A section right at the bottom of your screen there, and we'll answer those all at the end. Now, I don't want to take up any more time, so I'm going to leave it to the experts.
Thank you so much for the warm introduction, Kelly, and welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us on this webinar. We are so excited to be collaborating with Raucous Bloom and really talking to you about our solution, Sage Enterprise Intelligence, today, and how we integrate with your Sage 100 solution and how we can really be there to help your organization manage it from a business intelligence point of view. So with that being said, Kelly has already introduced myself. My name is Gareth Marks, and I'm very excited today to be able to run you through the presentation and talk to you a little bit about our solution. The flow of today, I'll do a short introduction, really talk about from a high level, and then I'm going to hand over to Jasdeep, who's really going to demonstrate the product and show it to you, and really be able to dive into those benefits that I'm going to be able to touch on today. Please pop all your questions in for us. We will take them at the end, and we do look forward to them. So a little bit about ourselves at Nectari Software. We've been in the industry for the last 30 years. The company was founded in 1992. We've done a couple of things. Obviously, in 30 years, you do kind of integrate into a lot of different things. One of the things that we've really focused on lately is Nectari, which is rebranded as Sage Enterprise Intelligence since 2013. Within the Sage world, we integrate into 12 Sage product lines, and we're very proud to say that we have over 2,900 customers that have now benefited from our solution. We are represented by over 300 partners, and that's across 60 different countries worldwide. So having quite a vast reach as to who we are. But what are we here to talk to you about today is really SEI, as I'll call it throughout the rest of the presentation. And what is SEI? It's a comprehensive, intuitive business intelligence and data management solution. So our goal is to help organizations like yourselves really make better informed decisions, all based on real-time information. And being able to give you as much at your fingertips as possible when it comes to managing your data and making those business decisions going forward. How we look at our solution, SEI, is we really like to focus on 4 key pillars. These 4 key pillars really start off with the beginning of any conversation when you talk about business intelligence and data management is how do we manage your data? We have multiple different ways of doing this within our solution. So we talk about things like data warehousing, being able to connect to multi-sources, because we find that within any organization, we always see that they have their Sage 100, and then maybe they have a legacy system, maybe they have a third-party CRM application, a POS system, an inventory management system, anything that goes along with their Sage solution. So how do we really combine all that data together and consolidate that and give you one single view of the truth? That's really the first pillar when we talk about our solution, SEI. Once we've done that, we really look at gaining visibility and insights into that. So we do that through our out-of-the-box reporting templates. Everything that you see today, when Jasdeep actually dives into the product itself, is going to be delivered to you out of the box. So we build and integrate our solution with Sage. We go hand in hand through quite a vigorous Q&A testing process with them to be able to make sure that our solution is up to standard with the integration that we have. We also have things like our universal data model. We have things like our OLAP cubes and different data management platforms that we'll explain in more detail throughout the presentation. And very exciting when we talk about gaining visibility and insights, one of the key things about our solution is that we can gain real-time insights. So it's looking directly at your Sage 100 data in real time and be able to pull that information to you. So you're never missing information, never late when it comes to those month-end reports, really giving you as much visibility as possible. And once we've gained that visibility, we really want to try and empower all of our users. So we look at our solution, it's always been a goal and something that our solution was built on is trying to empower the end user. And we do that by giving you flexible reporting options. We give you multiple different interfaces. You can report on the web, mobile, or Excel. So we have 3 different platforms. So a full business intelligence platform in the web application, or you can do things that you're familiar with your Excel reporting, or of course on your mobile device. And with that, we have over hundreds of different visualizations that come standard with the solution, or you can go ahead and customize that and create as many as possible. The solution is also available in multiple languages. So us being based in Canada, we have people that would need it in French and some people in English, and they can be looking at exactly the same application, same report, and they just log in and see it the way that they want to see data. And then lastly, what's good with empowering all your end users if you can't collaborate and share on that information? We have a full distribution module that allows you to share information, whether it's on a scheduled time, whether it's on a KPI-based time. So for example, if you want to be able to send out reports based on overdue invoices, but only when they become overdue past, the 90 days, 60 days, 30 days, depends on how your business runs, we can send a report of all of those invoices that are overdue only when the necessary time comes. So very important. And again, we'll show that in a little bit more detail. I do want to highlight one of the key things that I mentioned today is when I spoke about the different interfaces that we have the Excel reporting as well as the web-based application. One of the things that we've recently and our R&D team has done an excellent job at doing is we've actually brought the power of Excel into the web application. So that's what we've done is built a Excel-like replication that allows you to take all of your Excel functionalities and embed that directly within a solution. So you have a lot of benefits of this. For example, if you go cloud, if you're on Mac users, having it all centralized in one place, and it really just being simplified without having to deal with, your Excel licenses, etc. It's very unique in the market, and we are one of the first to do this, something that we're very proud of, and we will spend a little bit of time showing you that today. When we talk about specifically SEI and how it works for Sage 100, there's 2 really key things that I want to highlight. And starting off with the ease of use and flexibility that comes with the solution. And these are what our Sage 100 customers are telling us as to what they love about the solution. That's the ability to work in Excel and on the web application. So you have your CEOs, particularly maybe your sales team that really wants to see numbers in a dashboard format. But then you have the finance team that wants to analyze those numbers. So within the same set of data, one of them is looking at a dashboard with 10 different visualizations, and the same team is analyzing that on the back end, seeing all the invoices on an Excel format. Giving you that flexibility for you as an end user to see data the way that you want to see it has really been something that our customers in the Sage 100 market have been telling us that they love and enjoy with the solution. And of course, that gives them that flexibility. For people, sometimes they aren't those Excel experts and they want to be able to just manage and slice and dice and see information and be able to customize it. And again, see it the way that they want to see it. And then another thing when we talk about flexibility is the ability to really see things right down to transactional level. So you can drill down all the way to transactional level on all of your invoices, details, financial reports, sales numbers, stock management, etc. Whatever you need, you can drill right down to the last level and be able to see that data. The second point when we speak to our customers and end users is really the ability to access those third-party and external data sources. So yes, Sage 100 can do a lot, but again, like we said, we always find somebody has a legacy system or a third-party application that they want to be able to analyze all of that together. So we really do have the ability to pull all of that together and consolidate, multiple entities, whether it's multi-currency, multi-legislation, pulling all that information together, and again, giving you as an organization one single view of all of your data is very key for us. Other things like the performance, particularly when looking at large reports, large numbers and infrastructure that would take a while to load on Excel, the performance of SEI has really been one of the key things, and it's scalable and future-proof. So we are doing a lot around the AI space, which is very exciting for us in this industry to be able to see how AI is coming together with BI and how it's all going to combine and work really well, and really allowing you to know that you're set for the future with our solution. One of the next thing that I want to discuss with you today before I hand over to Jazz Deep is really about talking about SI versus SEI. So SI is Sage Intelligence. It's an Excel-based reporting tool, and then SEI is the full-blown business intelligence solution and data management solution that really works with you across the board. A couple of the key things that I just want to touch on today in terms of the differences. Of course, SI is only an Excel-based reporting tool, so you don't have the full kind of business intelligence behind it. There are other key things that are limitations because it's based on Excel. So in terms of adding third-party or external data sources, it's limited, where on SEI you have an unlimited number there. We can see information in real time. On SI, of course, there's a multi-step process to getting that. Other things like visualizations that you have, of course, with SEI, it's a full-blown BI tool, so you can create dashboards and many different visualizations and customize as you have, where with SI you are limited to Excel's capabilities. There are many other things over here that I won't share too much in detail with you, but if you have any specific questions around that, we will be happy to ask. Then lastly, before I hand over, is when talking about SI, we know that a lot of you on the line have invested in Sage Intelligence, but if you're really looking to kind of take that next step and move to SEI, what we've done is we've built a SI converter. So all of those reports that you have spent a lot of time developing and run well from a financial point of view, you can simply at the click of a button convert them to SEI, and the format will look very similar to what you have it in. And then again, you can go ahead and really use the Sage Enterprise Intelligence tool to its full capabilities while still keeping those core financial reports that you're familiar with SI. So with that being said, I am going to hand over to Jazz Deep.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Gareth, for your presentation. And thank you everyone for joining us today on this call. My name is Jasdeep, and Kelly, you pronounced it really well before, just to get back to that. And I will be presenting you SCI, and we will begin by looking at the first platform of SCI, which is the web application. And here, as you can see, I'm logged into my Sage 100 environment on SCI, where I have the command center on the left-hand side of the screen, and all the space where I can actually open my worksheets, views, graphs, and visualizations, and dashboards, and so on and so forth. So we'll use all the space for that. All right, so in the command center itself, we have many options. So beginning with the data models and views, where we have the two different sets of templates which are delivered to Sage 100 users who start using SCI. So there's one template, which is the Sage 100 template, where we have all the different modules covered, such as sales, general ledger for financials, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and further going down the list, all operational data models as well. For example, RMA, purchase orders, inventory management, work order, and so on and so forth. So all of these are pre-built templates. And if I expand these folders further, you will notice they come along with the different data models. So this is what we mean by integration with Sage 100, where we have connected all those Sage 100 and 100 tables in the backend, which from our experience with the clients, we understand are the most important dimensions and measures they need to use to create those reports. So all that integration is already done and provided as a part of these templates. So as for example, I'm opening some of the folders here, data models, to show you the out-of-the-box reports, graphs, and visualizations which are delivered for each separate module. And on top of that, if you have other systems in place, which could be CRM software based in the cloud or any other third-party applications or even your legacy data, which can bring in all the data together and put it in one data warehouse from where SCI picks up the data, blends it together to give us the full picture of the business. So then it comes to consolidation of multiple data sources. That is also key to SCI's offering. Now let's go ahead and open some of the reports. So we'll go into General Ledger, for example, and I will open one of the reports on the GL account transactions. Let's go into the first report itself, account transactions, and we will understand how these reports really work. So all the worksheets, reports, as you may call them, they all are based on the same principle. So once you understand it for one report, you understand it for the whole software, basically. So we have the groups, pivots, and columns when it comes to functioning and working with the worksheets within SCI. And this provides us the flexibility of moving things around, slicing and dicing, drilling down to the different levels of details. So for example, in the groups, we have three different fields, starting with the account category code, followed by the group code, and finally the account code. So these are the three levels I have defined here in the groups. So if I go into the groups column, I will see the same sequence being followed when I start drilling down on this report. To drill down, we simply click on the arrow next to the line item, which is assets in this case. So if I click on the arrow, it shows me all the account group codes which are under that, because group code is the next field. And then if I further drill that down, let's say into current assets, then we have the next field which is loading for us, which are all my account codes. Now, further drilling down into the account codes, we can even see all the raw level details, such as posting date, source journal, the created dates. So each transaction is being represented while drilling down on these reports. So we're not losing any details through these reports. And when it comes to bringing in more dimensions of our choice, which we might find are not present in this already created template, we always have an option to go into the toolbar on the right-hand side. And one of the tools here is the dimensions and measures, where I can go grab any other dimensions which are missing. For example, segment codes. So these are the segment codes. Many of you must be already using these to define departments, cost centers, so on and so forth. So these segment codes are already part of these templates, and they can be easily dragged and dropped into these reports. If I bring in the segment 2, for example, I can simply drag and drop that and place it exactly in the order where I want to see it. And my report would reload to show me the segment 2, whichever dimension we are using to put into the segment code. In my case, it's the cities. So here we have all the cities which are a part of the segment 2. We can easily filter on the data as well on these reports by simply clicking on the line item. So let's say these are the 3 cities I would like to filter on. I add them to the filter, and then the report would reload to show me all those 3 cities. And as the next step, what I can further do in this report is bring that segment 2 code into the pivots, which then shows me a completely different way of looking at this report, where now I have those 3 cities. Instead of being row items, now they are a separate column in themselves. So that way we can compare the postings by city, or if you want to replace a city by another dimension, let's say if I go back into time dimension, we have posting date, fiscal year, fiscal period. So we can actually even do the yearly comparison, year over year growth, and so on and so forth. So it really gives us that kind of flexibility to choose the field that we want to bring into this report and slice and dice the data, filter on it, and pivot it if needed to really see the whole picture when it comes to comparing different dimensions together. Now let's go ahead and open one more report, which is a bit more advanced report in terms of financials, a standard financial statement, for example. So that I'm using the universal data model, which is a second template, which is also offered out of the box along with the Sage 100 template. So here we have many other financial statements as well, like income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, so on and so forth. So let's go and open one of these. And this is a nice cool feature here as well. When it comes to opening these reports, we can set up a selection page, which is essentially as a selection of different filters put together, where we can predefine exactly what we want to filter on as a report loads. So I'm defining my fiscal year as 2025, fiscal period 1. That's the demo data set that I'm using. And as a result of that, we will have this report loading for us, where I have a standard structure of the income statement, like sales, cost of goods sold, expenses, along with the calculations on gross margin and net income, which I can further drill that down to sales. Being drilled down to showing me the account codes. So like I said before, if you understand it for one report, you understand it for all the others. So it also is following the same principle to drill down to the different levels of details depending on how many fields we enter here. Now, if I further go down from these account codes, we can also drill down further into the document numbers and so on and so forth. What is also nice about these reports is the pre-built KPIs which are delivered out of the box. So if I go into the measures, we have the calculations on the variance percentages. We have the calculations on the year-to-date calculations of this year versus last year, and even the variances between the two. And then, of course, the rolling 12 budget actual mix. So there are plenty of different KPIs which are pre-built and provided as a standard offering with these reports. So we do not have to start from the scratch when it comes to using these KPIs. All I need to do is to, let's say if I'm going to use rolling 12, I pick that field and simply drag and drop that as a column into my columns shelf. And as a result, I have a new column added, which is the posting rolling 12. And if I further go and drill this down, you will notice that all these calculations on the rolling 12 are done right on the fly. Next thing we can also do on these reports is set up some KPIs. So here I see rolling 12, most of my amounts are in the negative, but I can always go back in my other settings of the worksheet where general, for example, if I would like to see the reverse data, it actually flips the signs from positive to negative or negative to positive. So as you can now see, all my numbers in the posting rolling 12 are now positive. Now, if I further want to go ahead and set up some business rules on this column, let's say if I see any amount more than, or in fact, less than 500,000. So I would like to see it in a different color, for example. So I can go into the rolling 12 column, which is the one right here, right click on that and set up a conditional formatting right on that column. So here we can define this quick rule where I'm using the posting rolling 12 as my dependent column. And then I'm comparing that against the constant value, which I will define in a moment. But we also have other options. We can compare one column with another one within the report, or even with a global variable, which is defined on the entirety of this solution. So here, for example, I'm defining any amount which is less than 500,000. So I define that amount, and then I can choose from one of the icons here. Let's say we are using the downward arrow, and we can also use different colors to represent these figures. So I have set up this rule, and when coming back to this report, I can now see all the amounts which are less than 500,000 in a specific color and font and in the icon that I use to define it. And that's how we can easily set up these KPIs to bring out the important critical information in these reports as well. Next comes the ability to share and distribute these reports as well. So for that, we go back into the toolbar, and there's one tool called sharing, which gives us many options when it comes to collaborating with our teams in a safe and secure manner. So for example, if you would like to export this report, we have plenty of options there. We can export it in PDF, Excel, CSV, or any other format of our choice. So that exists as an option. Or what we can also do is send comment. This feature grabs a screenshot of the exact same report that we are looking at in the back end, and then we can pick up a tool like a marker and use that to add any annotations, add remarks, even add a text field here to add any comments, and then send a direct email to our colleagues with the remarks attached with that email. In addition to that, we can, of course, also do the page setup, make sure the formatting of these reports are right before they are exported, and further embed these reports in other systems as well. So we can use these reports and put them in PowerPoint slides, for example, which will make them completely dynamic reports. So as you flip through your presentation slides, presenting it to your team members, you will actually be looking at a live SCI report fully embedded within your PowerPoint slides, which is showing you the real-time numbers. So that's the power which also comes with the embedding the SCI solution as a whole, or even some of the reports like this one in the other applications. Then we also have the ability to share and distribute these reports by creating the reporting packs, and that advanced functionality is offered with the distribution module. So where we can actually set up a new job, and that allows us to select a bunch of different reports that we would like to share with our teammates or even board of directors, for example, on a monthly basis, weekly basis, or a daily basis by selecting the reports that we would like to share. So if I filter on finance, I can see all the financial statements which are available within SCI. And in addition to that, we can even share some of the more visualized forms like dashboards, which we haven't seen yet, but I'll show you that in a moment. So let's say we also include a dashboard here. And then further, we can add some aesthetic touches to these reporting packs, give it a name, add a cover page to that where you can add your company logos in there, table of contents, which will cover all these reports and dashboards that we have listed. And finally, set the schedule on how often we would like to receive these reports. So if it is 9 a.m. every Monday and every Wednesday of the week, we set those date and time here, hit save, and as a result, the end users will receive a reporting pack which will look something like this. So a logo on the top, followed by the table of contents, and then a dashboard with all the important nice KPIs, followed by the financial statements in this document. So these are the different options which are available when it comes to sharing and distribution. Not to forget the conditions tab as well, where you can set up the conditions. Let's say talking about the financials, if your actual amounts go over the budget amount, Then you can set it up as a business rule here, and you can receive a notification in case the actuals go over budget for a specific account code or posting, for example. So those kinds of conditions can also be easily set up, and we can receive notifications to be proactive about that situation. We were speaking of dashboards. Let's switch to the dashboards here. So with Sage 100, we have plenty of dashboards as well, just like the reports. So we have dashboards on accounts payable, receivables, sales, procurement, work orders, and so on and so forth. And plenty of these dashboards also come with the universal data model, where we have the role-based dashboards like CFO, profit and loss, income statement, so on and so forth. So let's have a look at some of these dashboards from the space right here. Let me open a CFO dashboard, for example. So these dashboards are really powerful because they can bring in the data not only from one specific data model, even though this is a financial dashboard, yes, so we are bringing in all the financial information from the finance data model, but these are not limited to only one specific data model. Let's say if you would like to combine your sales information with your financials, or even your inventory information with your financials in the same space, these dashboards allow us to do so. So that's the power of these dashboards, and definitely they are also configured with the different filters on the top. So this is a filtering panel on the top where we can set up different filters of our choice. We can always customize everything that we see here, of course, and then apply those filters. Let's say I'm selecting fiscal period 4 instead of the 7, and then my data changes rapidly as I make that selection on this dashboard. And these are fully customizable, like I said, so we can always go in the added dashboard option and then remove the visualizations we might want to replace with something else. So if I go back in here and if I want to see my financial statement instead of a visualization, so I can simply drag and drop the income statement in here and then see that fully embedded within this dashboard. So now we have a dashboard which has all these visualizations, but also a report that I can drill down into different levels of details. There are many more dashboards as well on the sales side. Let's have an example on the sales too, where we can see the information on the products, the customers, sales reps, so on and so forth. So there are all kinds of dashboards which are already delivered out of the box. So in this dashboard, for example, we are comparing a lot of different KPIs like invoice quantity, the cost, the margin percentage, and so on and so forth. Then we are also creating this visualization where we can see the top 10 products. So here is the visualization representing that. And then we have the visualization on the right-hand side to show us the month-to-month growth. And down below, we have actually a Google Maps integrated with the solution where we can put the sales amounts, for example, right on this map. So when I click on the little bubble here, which is represented next to Pittsburgh, I can find who is the customer in this city and what is the invoice amount from the sale from the calendar period 7 and the calendar year 2018, because that's a selection that we have done on the top. So this amount is being represented based on what we have set as a filter on the top. So we can definitely dive in deeper into each visualization as well. So if I want to expand this visualization, we can see a much more enlarged and more clear version of that. And further, click on different bars to connect them to the underlying data. So if I want to see this adult mountain sport bike and see all the details which are available for this product for me, I can use the link to option, which suggests me the list of different reports that I can connect to, which will appear right in about a few seconds. So SEI suggests us the different kinds of reports where we can go into and see the details for each product. So if I go and use Sales Summarize as my report, I use link to. So we are jumping directly from that visualization right into this report. And we are also applying the filter on the same product, which is FIN008. If I go back in here, this is not really showing us the code, but let's just actually do something here. So we have all the information related to the product ID FIN008. So if I actually bring in the product code itself, we will see that it's going to show us only that specific product, which is again, the same bike. And then I'm drilling that further down to see all the sales related to this bike by months. And then further drilling that down, I can even find out what were the product stat groups involved in that, what were the cities it was sold in. So if I'm drilling down further into the bike here, we will see all the cities in which this bike has been sold. And we can continue to do this analysis by bringing in all kinds of different dimensions which are available to us beyond the company, geography, customer, so on and so forth. So that's the power of these dashboards, where we can find one thing anywhere on one of the visualizations and drill really deeply into those details for that specific item. Now, what's also nice about SCI is that with the universal data model, we have the ability to even create financial budgets and sales forecasts. So giving you an example of budget for financial budget as an example, I will open the budget worksheet. And then we can actually even choose the format of the report that we would like to see. So in this case, I'm using balance sheet as an example. Confirm. That would load all the budget numbers that I have created for this specific balance sheet report. And here we have the standard structure of the balance sheet where I can drill down to the assets, liabilities, and so on and so forth to see all the account codes. And all the columns here on the other side, they are representing the budget amounts from one period N all the way to period N plus 11, which is really giving me the spread of all the different budget amounts over across the 12 months. And this is created using the algorithms which are pre-built for the budget amount. So if we go back and how this budget was actually created, we go in the view info page option. That's where we have the generate new budget option, which gives us 5 different algorithms which we can use. For example, the percentage increase on the last year posting, if I choose that, and if I'm trying to create a budget for 2024, I will be asked to provide the percentage increase that I'm expecting to create that budget. So if I apply 15%, that 15% will be applied to the amount from last year, which will be 2023, to give me the new budget for 2024. So that's really the principle behind creating these budgets. And then we can further go down into each cell level and change the amounts if ever needed. We can make those manual tweaks. So if I want to change this amount of 37,530 to 56,000, I can do that right on the fly and then see the change applied right away. And then these budget amounts can be saved. These budget reports can be saved and sent for the approval. As an end result, these budget amounts, once loaded and approved, they first of all, they also only remain within Sage Enterprise Intelligence. So they're not really interfering with your Sage 100 data or Sage 100 budgets. They are created within SCI and they're maintained within SCI just to give you that flexibility to use one solution even for your budget creation without affecting any of your Sage 100 data. And on top of that, then you have all kinds of visualizations, graphs, and charts which you can use to compare these budget amounts with your actuals, for example, and do all kinds of analysis with that. So we have seen plenty of different reports which are delivered out of the box, but what about the reports which we can actually create on our own? So let's also definitely focus on that part. So if I go back in here in the data models and views, go back in Sage 100. So let's pick sales as an example. So if I go and use invoice history as one of my data models, so to create a new report, despite the fact that we have plenty of them already delivered out of the box, if we ever want to create a new report on our own, we can simply choose the data model we want to work on, which is invoice history in this case, and right click on that to choose the option called New View. And then as a result, we have plenty of different options available to us to use either the bar charts, line charts, pie charts to create something more visual out of the data. Or if you want to stick to something very simple as a worksheet, we can use that as an option. This is always a good start, and we can always change these worksheets into something more visual afterwards. And then here, for example, I can go and pick the different columns that I would like to include in my report. So the list here gives me that option to choose from. So if I want to use the unit price, unit cost, and then I can also maybe go and choose the profit amount and the quantity audit. So these are the 4 different columns I would like to add. And on top of that, we can then choose some of the more options like the customer number, the salesperson number, and then maybe also we can include product information, which is the item code. So I'm making these three different selections on the level of grouping or how I would like to drill down on this report. So I have created this report of sales by customer, which is further going to be drilled down into the sales reps and then the item codes. So here is, first of all, the list of all my customers, because that's the first level. And then if I further drill down on one of the customers, I will be able to see who are the sales reps associated with this customer. And then further drilling down on one of the sales reps, we will notice that these were all the products that this sales rep, Alan Michaels, sold to the customer Business Microsystems. So that's really kind of the gist of how we can really drive into the details of each line item by adding more and more dimensions here and getting to those details using these reports. And that's the brand new report that we created on our own. So we can always go ahead and save changes if you would like, but we can also create something more visual out of it. So let's say if I would like to keep just a few items here in terms of my visualization creation, let's just keep profit amount. So we would like to keep only profit amount and reload this report. So this is where we are really kind of slicing and dicing the data on this report now. And then let's just also say I would like to only keep my customers, which first of all, I would want to sort the data for. So if I want to see the top 10 customers, right? So I can go in the profit amount, first of all, customer number, and use the advanced options where I can say, give me the profit amount for all the customers in the descending order. So once I do that, I will see all the amounts now from the highest to the lowest. So that has already sorted my data. And then after that, I can go in and say in the customer, we can always just apply filters, so advanced options. And I say, let me just see only the first 10 items. So confirm, and that will limit the data or the rows on this report up to 10 items or 10 customers, and all the others are put in the others category. And now I can go back in my toolbar to use the view type option again to create a bar chart out of this report, which we were seeing before. Now we will see an actual bar chart right here, which is showing me the numbers of the customers based on the highest to the lowest in terms of the profit amount that we made out of that sale. So that's how easy it would be for any end user like yourselves to create new visualizations and new reports, visualizations, and even plug these visualizations further into a dashboard space, for example. All right, so now let's go ahead and explore the next part, which is very exciting, which is very interesting, which is the workbook. So I will switch the environment here just to show you some nice workbooks that we have on the dashboard side. Let me open the business dashboard first of all. So just to introduce the workbooks to you, of course, SCI offers multiple platforms like what we are seeing right now is the web application. But in addition to that, we also have the Excel add-in platform. So this is what it is. While the other one loads, I would like to show you the Excel add-in platform where we have the SCI tools provided as an out-of-the-box offerings as a plugin where we can use all these SCI tools to create financial statements, sales reports, and so on and so forth within Excel. But what we have recently done is to bring all that Excel-like functionality within the web application. So using the workbooks, oh, it just loaded when I closed. We can just do that again. So here is the business dashboard workbook, which is going to open for us. And we will notice how it looks very similar to the Excel. So as you can see, there's the same layout in terms of the rows and columns. And if I expand the ribbon on the top, we can see all kinds of formatting options which are available to us, such as you know, setting up different alignments and fonts and so on and so forth. You can insert any charts and visualizations just like you would in Excel, use any of the Excel formulas here. And most importantly, the analysis tab, which is SCI's own offering of different tools for us to create these reports in a very easy way. So all the data that we are seeing here in these visualizations is being plugged into the data source where we are using the SCI tools to grab that information. So here, for example, revenue for January, this was calculated using the tool called Formula Wizard, where we are using the data model that we wanted to work on, which is financials in this case. And then we are choosing the field sales for that, operator as a sum. And then we are applying a bunch of different filters to map them with the different cells in the spreadsheet, which gives us the calculation that we needed in the cell. And this calculation right here, along with all the other ones, is then feeding the data into these visualizations, which are giving us the insights right away. Some of the advanced features which also come with the workbook are a date picker option, for example, where I can simply go and pick a different date on the calendar. So these are some of the functionalities which go beyond the Excel. And as you can see, I'm selecting the different month here, and that filters directly on the data on this dashboard. Let me show you another example on the financials, the dashboards here. Let's go into the income statement. So we'll just give it a couple of seconds to load. And there we go. This is what we have as an income statement here, where we have, again, created this report using the SCI tools for the workbook. So if I go in the formula wizard for this one, we will notice that we are using finance as the data model, the posting as the field, and then we can, of course, also choose easily from the list of different operators which are available to us to do a specific calculation. And at the end, I'm choosing a bunch of different filters which we will use to do that calculation. All right, so we actually have a few more minutes, which I can actually take advantage of just to show you by creating a report on the fly, which would be a demo trial balance report. And that will really show you how this workbook really works essentially. So in this report, an example, I have already predefined some of the parameters like fiscal year, fiscal period, and so on and so forth. And then we will start building the trial balance report using some of these dimensions here. So the first step for me would be bringing out the different account codes along with the descriptions. So here I'm going to use my data model, let's say GL, and that would be the data model I would like to use. And based on the selection of the data model, then my dimensions and measures show me the fields that I would need to work on that. So for the moment, I need account code and also the account description. So we can go in the account description, which is right here. So I will bring these two together, and then we can apply a bunch of different filters here. So we have the filters option where I can go and choose fiscal year and map that fiscal year with the cell right here. And then further fiscal period, which I can map with the cell right here. And then following that, we can add in the ledger code as well. Why not? So we have all the fields that we need by simply, we can search them easily by using the search tab, as you can see. And then I will also apply the company code, which we are using all the companies. So I'm just marking them with a star. All right, so we are good here. And if you want to limit the data, let's say if you only want to extract the top 20 rows, I can limit that using these options right here as well and click on create. And as a result, as you can see, now I have the account code and account description appearing for me and limited to only 20 rows. Now, as a next step, what I would like to do is to start calculating the opening balance, debit, credit, and ending balance for each one of these account codes. So let's start doing that. And for this time, I will use another tool like Formula Wizard, where I will again go ahead and choose the data model I would like to work on, and further the field that I would like to use. So it's going to be ledger posting. So I can easily search for that, apply sum, and then again, select a bunch of different filters I would like to use. So fiscal year again, which is coming from the cell here, and then fiscal period, which is actually going to be the range for the opening balance. So I can define it as the range 0 to the previous period. And then applying a few more filters like ledger code and the company code. And finally, the account code against which we are doing this calculation. So I can move this a little bit on the side use account code and map that with the account code right here. But since we want to replicate the same exact calculation for all the other rows, so I will simply get rid of the $ here, which will give me that kind of dynamic list. And there we go. Now we are using the formula wizard to do all those calculations, which are already done and now included in this column. We can rename this as opening balance. Now, as the next step, for calculating the debit amount, what we'll simply do is to copy this formula right here and paste that in the next cell. As you can see, it automatically gets populated, but it gets automatically populated with the same figures because we are simply copying the same formula. But using the new cell right here in the new column, we can go back in the formula wizard and make a few different changes here. So instead of using posting, I would like to use ledger debit. So I choose that as an option, and just a minor change here for the fiscal period, which will no longer be the range, but instead be the current period. So I can make that as a selection here, and the rest of the stuff actually remains exactly the same. And now, as you can see, it's loading again, which is now giving me the numbers for debit amount. Oops, there we go. So Control C again. Now for the credit amount, we will do the same thing. It just gets easier after the first step, of course. And now we are simply changing the names of the fields. From ledger debit, I'm going into the credit, and that's it. That gives me the credit amount. And the final thing that would be actually the sum of all these together, which will give me the ending balance. And as you can notice, I'm using a very simple basic Excel formula for that calculation, since this is very much like an Excel tool. So we have that ability to add Excel formulas easily. And now it's all about changing the names of the columns on the top. There we go. And now we have the opening balance, debit, credit, and ending amount. And that gives us our trial balance report. And now we can use some more advanced tools which are a part of this workbook. For example, using the drill down version to give me all the transactions that add up to this amount of 607,000. So if I go back in the analysis tab, I use drill down tool. It opens a new tab here on the right-hand side of the screen, which then gives me the details of all the transactions. I can just expand it a little bit more just to see each and every transaction, which gives me the amount exactly what I see in the cell here. And this tab, which opens here, actually loads dynamically as soon as we change the cell. So just expanding it a little bit more. Oops. There we go. And then we can just simply go and select a different cell here. And as you will notice, the tab here refreshes again to give me the drill down of the new cell item that I have selected. So many features all there for us to get right into the details, create these reports very easily. We're using the flexible tools that are there to our disposal, and make the most out of the solution. And with that, I would like to conclude my presentation and pass it back to Gareth. Thank you.
Wow, Jasdeep, what a great presentation. Thank you so much I think you really highlighted everything a little bit of what we can do. I know you didn't spend too much time on each topic, but I think you were able to, show from a worksheet to a dashboard to kind of inputting numbers that will kind of write back for you, to then go into the web workbooks, to go into Excel, to creating it alone. You really showed quite a range of things. So I hope that the audience liked it as much as I did. I always love seeing our solution in action, and how it can work and benefit these Sage 100 customers, and really just the key integration that we have built with that.
Thank you, Gareth.
No problem.
Well, we didn't have any questions, so I agree you did a phenomenal job. When there's no questions, you've done great. So really appreciate that. I'd like to end the webinar then by thanking the Nectari team. Thank you both for being here today, and your fabulous marketing team for getting us all the info we needed. And of course, thank you to all the attendees. We know your time is valuable, so thank you for spending a little bit of your time with us.